something last week about the way you guys call plays and the way Bryce goes through reads. There's like a different number one option on each play, and it might be you, might be Thielen, might be Hayden. How is that when you guys are learning an offense to kind of process when it's not a clearly defined, okay, he's the guy?
So actually, with that, the way that Coach Jefferson makes us kind of listen for it, like as he's calling out the play, usually a lot of offenses go left to right, or like strong side to weak side. But we kind of call it to where his progression is going. So he's going to read this side and then go to this side. But with that being said, like Coach Jefferson always lets us know that even if you're the last guy, the last read, you can still get the ball. So you run every route like you're the one, because there's a lot of times Bryce goes through his progression where he's going to the side that's called. He goes from 1, 2, 3, he come backside. Maybe it's a dagger, and that's me coming across, and we hit the play. So that really just tells him where he's looking first. But we all have to run our route with the same intensity and detail because, he can, as the game goes, 4 seconds in the pocket is like this, but it's a long time for him to get back to where you may be.
Were there times in camp where you kind of came out of a huddle maybe as the third, fourth, fifth option?
All the time. Yeah, it's just how it goes, how the dice roll. Maybe we'll prefer to go straight to this guy, get the completion, but a lot of times that's just not how it works. So there's a lot of times where you're the backside and he goes through the reads and come back to you, and you have to be there because he's counting on you to be in that spot because you're the last guy.
Has Bryce impressed you with his ability to go through all of his progressions in the pocket and find that last guy?
Oh, for sure. Not even just as a rookie. A lot of QBs, it's hard for them to go through progressions just because the game moves so fast and you never know what the defense is giving you. So sometimes, you may get out there and your first read, and if it's not there, a lot of QBs get flustered a little bit. But, he knows what he's looking for. Sometimes it's pre-snapped. He's already, decided based on coverage. Sometimes something taken away, he goes the other way. So I think that's pretty impressive, not only for a rookie, but as a quarterback in general.
Depending who you ask about after Saturday's game, not able to score, not able to move the ball or even get in the red zone. You talk to fans, the world's ending. Talk to you guys, you go through it, you understand what the playbook looks like. It's vanilla, it's about execution. What's your perspective on what happened Saturday from a standpoint of what your emotions are? It's surely not the fans, the world's ending, just we're going to suck. What is that?
I think it's progression, Of course, we would like to go out there and score points because that's why we play the game. Definitely as an offense to score points. But, a lot of the times we go out there, sometimes it's, simple playbook or just trying to get guys in different positions. But I personally don't think too much into it. I've played in a lot of different offenses, different quarterbacks, and I think we have the pieces here to do well. And it's a lot of our first time together. So I don't think too much into it. I know what we have, what we're going to do in this preseason. 3 weeks from now, nobody's going to be thinking about the game we had against the Jets week 1 of preseason. It's going to be what we do against Atlanta. And we know that. So the main thing is we come out and we win those games that matter. I don't really think anybody be worried about how many points or stats was put up the other day.
Now, DJ, I have to ask you about Coach Jefferson and the pads.
He told us that he'd been telling us that he was going to put on pads, and, I guess we didn't believe him. And then one day he said, not tomorrow, but the next day I'm going to have on pads. And we had a little discussion, but, in the midst of camp, that goes over your head. You don't think about it. And one day we came out there, and he was in pads, and we had a blocking drill. And so I was maybe 5th guy in line. And, the first 4 guys, I saw he was really bringing it. At first I thought, we were just going to smack him, but he was coming full speed, so I didn't want to be the one that was put on my butt. So I kind of went in there and gave a little thump, but I felt it for sure. So hats off to him. that's one way to earn the respect. He already had our respect, just the type of coach he is, very old school. But, yeah, coach to come out there and thump with you, you don't see that often. So hats off to him. Definitely at his age, at 50 plus, I'm not trying to do that at all.
I would have gotten posterized. You wouldn't have heard the end of that from me.
Somebody did, but
I'm curious about this offense. Last few years, the tight end hasn't really been a big part of the offense.
you saying here in
Yeah,
Carolina?
Carolina,
Okay.
yeah. So they brought in Hayden, and you got Trimble here. What about the way Frank Reich's offense needs that tight end to be effective for everything else to work?
First and foremost, I think it starts with the run game. From the teams that I've been on and what we're trying to establish here, run game is first and foremost. That takes all the pressure off of Bryce. That takes the pressure off the receivers. That takes everything, because once you're running the ball, that changes, that dictates how our defense plays. That's more of a mentality thing. And to have tight ends that can go in and physically block with DNs and linebackers and guys such as that can also run a route, that changes the whole dynamic of an offense. So the guys that you named, the guys that we have can do both. So whether it's play action or they stand in to block with protection or they going out and actually running a route, it's like, as a defense, who do you scheme to put on him? Do you bring a big nickel? Do you use a safety? It kind of affects how you roll out your defense. So to have guys that can do both, that can physically block, and we can have good lanes in the run game, but then also can, detach from the line and run a route and be consistent, get open, and make plays, I think that changes the whole dynamic of everything.
Is it frustrating to not have success, but also have that vanilla playbook? Like, we can actually go out there and put up some points.
It's frustrating to lose in general. Anytime that you're not successful or you go out against the next man and you don't win, you don't put up more points than them, it's frustrating. But honestly, it's a lot of preseason isn't necessarily about winning. It's about figuring out who can do what we ask them to do. I'm thinking more like from a coach's perspective, but also as a teammate, like who can I trust to go in and do these assignments right? Whether this receiver goes in and go for 80 yards, but then he had 4 missed assignments, and it's like, can I trust him when the lights are really on? So that's kind of what this is really all about. A lot of us didn't really even play as much, and that's tough because on one end it's the preseason, it doesn't really count per se, but also you're going through the whole routine of pregame meal, the pregame meetings the day before, you psychologically getting ready to go out there and go to war. And, say you only in for 5 plays, you can't prepare like you're going in for 5 plays, So I think all that matters, and I think we definitely have some things that, we have to fix, but this is a whole new group of guys, first time putting on pads together. That's my first time putting on a Panthers jersey. It's a long road. One thing I learned about the NFL, it's a long season. 17 games. We're going to be here until January, hopefully February. So it's a lot of things that we're going to have to fix for sure, but, that's what we're here for. It's been times. Personal experience, I've only had 1 winning season in my career, and that was with Detroit last year, and we started off 1-6. So it's a long season. So we understand that. We have the guys here for it, and we're going to get it together for sure.
Made a couple deep catches today. I probably said that wrong, but you caught a lot of deep passes today.
For sure.
Do you think that's a strength of your game, being a deep threat?
Oh, for sure. That's something that, I've been doing since I was a kid. But actually, I played running back as a kid. But once I started playing receiver, that's what I was doing a lot. And it feels natural to me. It's what I like to do. But I like to challenge myself to do more than that. I want to be a guy that my team can count on. If it's for the deep pass, that's what I want to do. If it's for blocking or it's coming across the middle or wherever that is, I want to challenge myself to do that because that's just the type of person that I am. That's the type of person that I want my teammates to see and can count on. I never want to shy away from anything difficult. But yes, to answer your question, deep passes, that's something that, if I had to hang my hat on anything, that would be it.
Do you hope that there'll be more opportunities to have deep plays in this upcoming weekend in the preseason game?
I mean, maybe so, but hopefully week 1, that's the one I really want the deep plays to show up. If it come or not this weekend, it's whatever the game plan is. I'm out there. I trust the process, and I go out there and do, whatever I can, my God-given ability. But at the end of the day, like I said, if I go for 300 yards this weekend, it ain't gonna matter week 1. It's week 1 is when we wanted to get it together. Now you're good.
You referenced Detroit. Would you rather play when it's 15 or 20 degrees like it was that day in December, or when it's 100 and some like it's been the last couple?
100 for sure. I can condition myself for the sweat and the fatigue. It's hard to condition myself for numb fingers. I can't feel my hand, I can't feel my toes. So I'd rather. And I'm from the South, so I've been in the heat, been sweating and running and shoes all squishy my whole life. So.
You notice one for you. Did you notice any weird pregame quirks from anybody in the locker room for the first time?
Man, I be so zoned in on game day. It's like I don't notice much. I don't really. Yeah, not really. Just because, I'm in my own zone, it takes a lot of energy for me on game day to get into the type of zone that I want to be in. So half the time, I don't know what's going on around me until we done with the game. Then I start hearing the stories or something. But honestly, I'm probably one doing the weird stuff, honestly.
Like what?
I got little glasses that blink. And I got a tennis ball, and I just find a room, and I throw the tennis ball at the wall, and I'm sitting there catching, focusing, getting my eyes right before the game. So if you walking through and you see me, I look probably silly, crazy to you, but I'm really getting ready for the game.
All right, thank you, Dean.
For sure. Thank y'all.
Bring it.